international break is over. So, welcome to Bulls and Red, your go-to RB Leipzig podcast. Broadcasting straight from the heart of Leipzig, we bring you the latest buzz from the club, the fan base, and our vibrant city. So, whether you're near or far, this is your ultimate home for all things RB Leipzig. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's ride the incredible Rasenballsport wave together. Good evening. Welcome back. So good to have you guys with us. And at this point, I would just like to announce something very special. And especially in times like these, I would like to announce because our podcast has listeners in about 30 countries. Well, over the time, I suppose. And because of that, I like to declare this podcast to be tariff-free. And I think this is wonderful news. It's also weekend, by the way. So let's just welcome the brain of the podcast, Richard. Are you ready for a good podcast?
Oh, yes, I am. And on the top of that, our podcast is vegan and easily digestible, right?
Hopefully.
So, at least most of the time.
We're not native speakers, so if we mumble along, just bear with us, please. Great to have you back. Anyways, let's just crack on. What are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to have a quick view back to our match versus Borussia Dortmund, because I noticed after the match there were Marco Rose chants, so we like to get into that a little bit deeper. Also, we had a infamous vista to the match versus Dortmund, and it's clear to say this gentleman won't be coming back to an RB Leipzig match. We also have to talk about a prediction generated by AR, which accumulates into a table. So Richard found that and he will tell us all about it. And we have to talk about injured players, unfortunately, again. And we'll definitely look ahead at tomorrow's match versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. So let's get to the first one. You guys may remember that versus the loss that we had versus Mainz, Marco Rose made the rounds after the match to all of the blocks, and somebody just yelled, "Rose, go home." So that was not a very nice atmosphere we had at the time. Now, since we're completely different after the match versus Dortmund, which we won 2-0, you heard Marco Rose chants, and I think that has not happened so often. Now, you may wonder, why is that? 1 week, everybody's dissatisfied. There is a discussion going on around him. Is he going to keep his job? Is he the right guy? Is there in-game coaching? And everybody, or a lot of people seem to be yelling, Marco Rose, please go home. And 2 weeks later, everybody's chanting Marco Rose. So is everything okay again? The way I interpret it is people can really separate between the human being, the coach Marco Rose, the guy from Leipzig. He is one of us, one of our own, and coach Marco Rose, and the system he's playing and what situation he's in. I think this was just a lovely gesture by the main supporters and by lots of other supporters in the stadium, just to show him, hey, we appreciate this match, we appreciate how professional you stay and what you're trying to do. And that is just a way of saying thank you. It does not mean that everybody agrees that it's a good thing that he's staying or might be staying. You can always disagree with that as well. But I think it was just a respectful gesture. And I must say, thank you guys, whoever started this, and he clearly enjoyed it. And at this moment in time, we can use all the positivity we can get. So that was a quick look back at the Dortmund match, which seems like ages ago, because in between there was the international break, and Germany had really two incredible encounters versus Italy. And just one remark on that note, Julian Nagelsmann is not a bad coach, because you could actually see some sort of in-game coaching, especially in the first leg versus Italy. Also the media and the press in Germany explained how he changed tactics at halftime, how he changed the formation around, how he took the Mainz players off and got Kleindienst in, for example. We'll talk about Kleindienst a little bit later. And changed and turned things around. And just one more thought about that. I think this is what we would like to see more often from Marco Rose, at least so it is obvious to our naked eye of the inexperienced players. Oh, Richard, hello. I'm sorry, I've been talking to myself. What would you like to add?
I'm still awake, and that's a good thing, because I would like to ask a question. Please explain to me, how can you glorify or party a coach that's able to change tactics in the middle of a match and then coming back from a poor first half and to steamrolling over Italy in the first leg, and then steamrolling over Italy in the second leg as well in the first 45 minutes, and after that completely loses control of the whole game. So, well, how is it explainable?
You can't explain. Just put it down to major learnings and takeaways and make it better in the next match. But at least he was able to change tacks, and he demonstrated that. And with Marco Rose, I think we haven't seen this in an obvious way for a long time. However, circumstances this season have been completely different, and we'll talk about injured players again and different type of players.
Yeah, but in terms of bottling a 3-0 lead, Nürnberg Nagelsmann is now on par with Marco Rose.
It's true. It's true. Mic drop. There you go. And I'll leave it at that. So let's move on to the next point. I mentioned in the beginning that we had a famous visitor to the RB Arena at the Borussia Dortmund match versus Borussia Dortmund. His name is Toxy Pöhlerz, and he's one of two guys who founded the Pöhlerz podcast. They started out with a podcast about Borussia Dortmund, then moved quickly to a YouTube channel providing a lot of Borussia Dortmund content, including some fan talks, including reactions to matches, some watch-alongs, and this is how I actually noticed that channel through little excerpts of clips that showed him when he wasn't celebrating because, well, they lost to RB Leipzig, and that was always very entertaining. However, he's a quite famous figure, I would say, or well-known figure within the Borussia Dortmund community. And he actually went to Leipzig with a couple of friends. He was very favorable, very complimentary on the city of Leipzig. I must say he stayed in very nice places in Leipzig and not in maybe not so nice places. And that was fine. That's good. He enjoyed some real German-style food. In order to pronounce the name of the local beer, well, he needs to work on that a little bit, but that's fine. We can forgive that. And as he was walking to the stadium, outside to the stadium, he was walking amongst a lot of RB Leipzig supporters, and everything was calm, everything was nice. And he did notice that he could walk along in Borussia Dortmund merchandise without being hassled, without being somebody's turning to him in an aggressive way. And to be honest, this is something I really enjoy about our club, because in a lot of matches, especially versus Borussia Dortmund, you saw a lot of Borussia Dortmund supporters in our sections, where you usually only have home crowd, wearing Borussia Dortmund gear, and nothing happened, really nothing happened. No aggressiveness. As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine, he actually experienced how stupid and antisocial some football fans can be. And he had one of these Borussia Dortmund guys behind him, and it got kind of ugly. They didn't fight, but it got to a very dangerous point at the end. However, and I really don't appreciate this. I appreciate our peaceful atmosphere, inclusive atmosphere, and everybody's just going there to enjoy football. Nevertheless, this gentleman then walked around to the away section. And he didn't display a lot of knowledge about the history of our stadium because, as you know, a new stadium was built into the old stadium. And in order to get to the new stadium inside, you have to climb a lot of stairs. And Richard is the expert on stairs of the Zentralstadion. Yes, definitely. Oh, yeah. Most definitely. So he went to when he arrived at the away section, he noticed that the block is full and the away section was full. However, the active fan scene, as they call it, the ultra passionate, loud BVB supporters, of course, they boycotted that game. And that was one of the topics that he talked about. He said, on one hand, you guys boycott a club like RB Leipzig, and you discuss similar boycotts versus clubs like Bayer Leverkusen, Wolfsburg, and TSG Hoffenheim, all of which are company-controlled clubs, apart from Hoffenheim, not anymore, but major influence by Dietmar Hopp. And by not showing up to these games and not providing the atmosphere and support, you're actually not providing any positive energy to the team. And they could have really used it during that match. They were actually, in my eyes, in the second half, definitely the better team. We were kind of lucky to get through with a 2-0, but that's a different story. So he didn't mention that. He also was... in his second, he did 2 videos. Also, the second video, it was really important for him to point out that he did not spend any money. He didn't buy the ticket. Somebody bought the ticket for him. But if it is a Borussia Dortmund supporter, didn't he support RB Leipzig instead of him? But hey. But I also acknowledged it actually doesn't make any sense to boycott the away games at clubs like RB Leipzig, because clubs like those are really financially strong. They have enough funds. They don't rely on those funds coming in from ticket sales to away supporters. So it doesn't make any difference. So in that sense, people could show up. So that was the whole spiel about that. He was in this away section, kind of complained that there were a lot of teenagers and a lot of families and not organized support. I thought, okay, yes, if you look at it, that it wasn't the organized support for Borussia Dortmund, you probably have a point. On the other hand, I am so happy that in our stadium, everybody can come to the game as long as they behave. So we have a lot of families, we have a lot of young kids, we have a lot of older people as well. And everybody just gets along. I mean, we get worked up about the game. We yell and shout, the usual passionate stuff, but it doesn't get into any violence. And usually our supporters are not aggressive, even verbally, to the away fans, to the other fans. And I think we should definitely keep that. So he had an unlucky seat in the away section because he had to look through some plexiglass or enforced glass to see one of the goals. But he did have a perfect, fine, marvelous, luxurious view on Xavi Simons' goal. So he shouldn't be complaining in my eyes. That should be really good. All in all, he found that the whole atmosphere, the whole proceedings before the match, when we chant our little anthem and wave our scarves in terms of Stolz des Ostens, and when we're on fire, he found that to be very much like an event. And I think we can only top that. We can only top that if we started to have a halftime show, with Helene Fischer or something like an NFL halftime show. I would never want to see that. Or Die Prinz, ne? What do you think about that? Die Prinz? No.
Oh my gosh. Get out.
Das ist alles nur geklaut. I think they're leaning towards Chemie anyway. So, yes, he's got a point there. There's a lot of entertainment and a lot of show pieces. And sometimes I think, yes, it's too much as well, but we really got used to it and we're enjoying this. And if I look at Borussia Dortmund, well, You Never Walk Alone, that anthem that they chant, is nicked from the Scousers in the 60s. Well, they started chanting in the 80s, I think. And I just think it's not very fair, because if people like that, proclaim, oh, this is too much showbiz over here, it's not real football. And in their stadium, when they chant You Never Walk Alone, and they have their jingles as well, that is traditional. That is football culture at its best, because it's from Borussia Dortmund. Get out of here. I don't agree with this. I just think it's really good the way it is. In Leipzig, it can always be it could always be improved, but we really enjoyed it. He also didn't like our stadium speaker. I think it's too noisy for him and too much passion in there. But I must say, I really love when Tim Tölke is the announcer, because without him, something unique and something very special, passionate and special would be missing. And I noticed that. And Richard, you might agree with that. When we went to the last 2 cup finals, when RB Leipzig took part and did win them, he wasn't announcing RB Leipzig's goal, and especially the equalizer in the final against Freiburg, which was forced in by Kunku. Well, I did miss his voice. I did miss the way he announces those goals, because the other guy from the official German Football Association, DFB, he was not half as passionate about that. And it was, he was not just hitting the right spot, so to speak, and hitting the right notes. So, no, Tim Turker is unique, and if he's too loud for you, well, get some overbucks. Put it in your ears or just stay at home. That's just my advice. So his conclusion is he's never going to come back to an RB Leipzig game. Oh, that's so sad. But he said he would prefer to go to the Leipziger derby, to teams like Lokomotive Leipzig and Chemie Leipzig, the old ancient clubs which were founded during East German times, and they were kind of officially at that time as well, but that's a different story. Now, this is really interesting because this weekend these two clubs met in the Pokal Cup competition of our region, of our Bundesland. In the UK would probably be the county, or in the US it would be the state, although that's too big. And they met in Leipzig. Now, please bear in mind, the stadium for Chemie Leipzig holds more spectators, but they're only allowed to hold 4,999 spectators. Needless to say, this whole thing was sold out. But proceedings began pretty much, I think, 2 nights before the game started, when Lok Leipzig fans met Chemie Leipzig fans and started fighting. Actually, they were in the majority, so probably they kicked their asses. But this is something we don't want to see. We don't want to see this in our city. This is not football culture. And in order to have this game, to make this game possible to take place, it needed 5,050 policemen and women to take care of both fan crowds and the match. It also needed a helicopter. Okay, we sometimes have helicopters as well when Union fans arrive, okay, because they're, special fans. And it also needs, what is this in English? This is it a water cannon thingy? Where you can actually hit people with lots of water. No idea what this is in English. See, I'm a peaceful guy. I don't even know what that thing is. And that thing was present all the time, just in case things kicked up. And what should I say? Of course things kicked up. They flared up after proceedings were like that, after the match, that, Chemie Leipzig fans wanted to meet the Lok Leipzig fans, get a little bit physical. The police people were in between, and because Chemie Leipzig fans knew their ground so well, they knew where the garbage cans were and how they fly, so they threw them at them. Now, this is not something I want to sue. I've never seen that. And just as a reminder, in relation to the number of fans, you had one policeman or woman for about 10 fans. That's a great ratio. So if we had a sold-out crowd at the RB Arena, 47,800, it needs about 5,200 policemen and women. We never had that, because you never need that, and I'm so glad of it. So, Mr. Toxy, if you want to go to these matches because you think this is beautiful football culture, be my guest. I just wished that you would have asked maybe somebody from the RB Leipzig crowd. Ask them, why are you not? What made you go to that artificial club RB Leipzig? And why are you not attending those beautiful, great, real, traditional, honest football matches at Leipzig, Lok Leipzig or Chemie Leipzig? He didn't. He just preserved his stereotype. Okay, that's fine. He was critical of the Borussia Dortmund fans who boycotted those matches. I think that was a good gesture. He likes Leipzig. He recommended to travel there, but he would never set a foot again into our beautiful RB Arena. Well, thank you for your visit. Really interesting. Thank you for making these 2 videos. I can't say that I'm too sad when you're not coming back. I wish you all the best, Toxy. And that's my little rant. Was it a rant? No, it was a review. Just a reflection on his 2 videos. The 2 videos are linked in our show notes. They are in German, but I presume captions you can actually change into English if you're interested. There's also another video about real Leipzig football culture, the ones I described that happened last weekend. Have a look at that and you get a certain idea. And maybe that helps you to understand a little bit more what is important for the local RB Leipzig fans. Thank you for listening. Oh, Richard, sorry. Is there anything you would like to add? But I think you're not very fond of this guy anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to add something to regarding the match, the Leipzig derby, because I watched it partly. The most part of the first half I watched from that game, and it was dreadful. My gosh.
Well, it was just 3 tiers down. Come on.
Yeah, but come on. It's just like in Germany we would say this, wrong English term, kick and rush. So I know it's English. It's a little bit more sophisticated, and it's called the long ball. And there were lots of long balls, actually, and lots of free kicks and lots of corners, but not a lot of goal chances. Although the wrong club won 4-1, and it was just dreadful to watch. And if I go into a stadium and want to attend a real football game, I do prefer professional football, with like when you see this real athleticism and this talent and the whole thing of creating chances by playing with each other and not just kicking the ball along the sideline and hoping for the best. That's should be, I think, for the most people, another question whether to attend a football match or not.
This is really interesting. This echoes a lot of the opinions I get when we talk about this. So thank you, Richard. But you talked about talent, and I must admit you have a special talent. You have, on one hand, a special talent of sourcing some strange statistics or even creating them yourselves. I don't know. But you really surprised me by digging out that prediction, AI-generated prediction, which resulted and accumulated into the final table of the season. Enlighten us, Richard. We're all here.
Okay, here we go. Hear me out. So I found this AI-generated table on the website of the Northern broadcasting stations, the Norddeutsche Rundfunk, NDR. And so they announced it on their website, and they announced it on the March 18th. And if you prefer some search engine like Google or whatever, and you can type for KI, as we say in German, so it's not AI, it's künstliche Intelligenz in German, artificial intelligence. If you're Googling for KI table or Tabelle,
Richard,
and
I provided
NDR, yes,
in the show notes.
Oh,
yes, yes.
You are so 2025.
I'm
not
consumer minded,
Okay,
and
great.
It's terror free, by the way. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh,
yeah. It's
so that
tremendous.
shows me. Yeah, because you are the sales agent, and I work for the federal government. So that's like the difference.
Yeah, okay. I'm sending you a fax next time.
Oh, that's fine. It should work.
In Germany.
Of course.
Oh, sorry. Sidetracked.
And it's only about 19 cents. Anyway.
Local tariff.
You could find this small table. And it's quite interesting because the AI that the NDR used pretends that Bayern Munich is going to win the league, of course, with 82 points finally.
Okay,
82 runner-up will... Yeah, 81, excuse me. Runner-up will be Bayer Leverkusen with 75 points. And then the Eintracht from Frankfurt will be ranked third with only 59 points.
Excuse me?
Interesting.
That is low.
And then it's really low because I don't remember that any season you were able to finish third place with less than 62 or 63 points. I have to look this up. I'm pretty sure at least 62.
Yeah.
So 50 something never has been enough.
Okay. So who would be in fourth spot?
Yeah. Guess who? RB Leipzig. So,
sorry.
Yeah.
Of course.
So that stupid AI.
Did we pay them to do that?
No, probably not. But it's ridiculous nevertheless, because that stupid AI pretends whatsoever predicts and pretends to. It pretends to be an intelligence, right? That's what I wanted to say.
Artificial. Artificial.
But nothing else. It's artificial, but it's not intelligent at all, because that would mean that RB Leipzig is going to end up gaining 16 points more than we have now, and that would result in 2 points per game. And I'm like, come on,
okay,
how should that work out? If you look who we're going to play against, there is Mönchengladbach, of course, tomorrow. Okay, you can get away with 3 points there. But the next match is Hoffenheim at home. Okay, 3 points as well. Might be okay here. But bear in mind that the last 4 matches are at Frankfurt, at home versus Bayern,
Okay.
at Bremen, where we love to travel because
and
we're
they
always
have this
shitty there.
brilliant striker.
Expensive.
Very expensive. We're paying for
Yeah.
that, by the way. We're paying for that, half of it.
So
They're really ripping us off. We should
scoring
have
against
tariffs
us.
on them. They're not treating us fairly. We should have tariffs on SV
because
Bremen.
And they are on the other side of the Great River. I don't know which one, but there will be
Such
one.
a beautiful word. Tariffs. Tariff. Sorry.
And finally, last match at home versus Stuttgart. So
What are
I
we
don't
going
want
to
to be
be playing
disrespectful. I don't want to be disrespectful to our lads, but 3 more losses. It's not. It's not what would surprise me. So that would mean we would have ended up with 5 wins to gain 15 points. So
Which
we
would be a lot
don't
already.
So we cannot afford lose more than 2 games in the final 8 matches. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So anyway, it's quite interesting that this AI does this prediction, and actually mine's will end up in 5th place with only 55 points, meaning that they're only gaining 10 more in the last 8 matches they have to play. And that's ridiculous too, because they're playing at Dortmund Sunday evening, so that's the first 3. Okay.
Take that, Toxy.
I'm not kidding, and there's not the slightest amount of doubt in my voice here. So, well, I think they should have tried it with natural intelligence.
Okay.
And
it
would have ended up with a more serious prediction. But that's quite interesting anyway. And I'm going to try it by myself, trying to find some AI engine on the internet that predicts the last 8 matches. And I'm curious to find out what the result will be when I do it.
I think they should have asked one of our lads in our community who's doing a lot of statistics, very useful statistics, and his Twitter username is rboligly1979. I think he would have provided a good prediction, very realistic. But hey, maybe they're right. Maybe they know something we don't. I would love that if we finished up at least in 4th spot. But the way things are panning out at the moment, well, that's a long way off. But if you're interested, just click on the link, have a look. It's all in German though, but run it through Google Translate or the translate machine of your choice, and that might enlighten you. But if you see RB Leipzig 4th place, this is just a prediction. It's not happening yet. So, Richard, I am afraid we have to talk about injured players. I know it's been the international breaks. Each international break, we're keeping our fingers crossed, and we hope, please guys, come back home safe and sound. Don't get any injuries, and especially for the key players who we haven't seen for a long time. And we need to talk about this Austrian gentleman, Sauerschlager. What happened, Richard?
Well,
Scheiße war es.
You're so scheiße.
Sorry. Explicit language in German. You don't understand. That's good. It doesn't count.
I think scheiße is international.
Is it?
That's
but
quite
to be honest, it really gets on my nerves. We haven't seen him for a long time. Then he came back, and it was promising. That was this stupid test match versus the great opponent from the Czech Republic, or Czechia, sorry. And he kind of came back, and it started to improve. And then we plays for this great country of Austria under our beautiful ex-coach Rangnick, and this crap happens, and he's out again. Did you have any idea when he's going to come back? I know you're not a doctor, but looking at the media...
Well, maybe there are some RBL doctors on the internet. I don't know.
On the other side of the world, I think. Yeah, they are. Definitely.
Maybe.
4 to 6 weeks. It's what I'm saying, 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, so it's season over. It's basically.
Are you sure? Do you think so?
Well, it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense at all bringing him back for these final matches versus Stuttgart and Bayern Munich. I don't think it doesn't make sense. And now he's out with some kind of not more specified leg injuries or muscle injury, and out for several weeks. And yeah, it's a pity, you know.
Yeah.
He played like 5 competitive matches for RB last season, and we need him so badly. And hope that he will come back even stronger. It's good that there's no major tournament this summer, and it's good that we don't have to travel to the United States. That is
it's good in so many ways. Sorry,
you said that
they might not come back. You never know.
You never know. Or might even not going in.
Yeah, might emigrate to Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
You know, sir, excuse me. There's a parking ticket.
Oh yeah, it's artificial, but hey,
it's still in from 1987, and it's still still charged.
Left over from the Biden administration, I'm sure. Anyways, we're getting sidetracked here, but it is what is a real shame. There are rumors that he wants to play in the Premier League. Okay, that's great. And he's going into his last season without the contract. The contract will expire the season after next season, so to speak. And usually RB Leipzig, after the experience with Konrad Laimer, they do want to earn some money, and they could earn some money. I would feel cheated if he was to leave, because, we haven't seen him for the biggest part of last season and the very biggest part of this season. And only from the few games that he attended this year, it kind of reminded us what kind of quality he adds to the team. And we need that now more than ever. And then he buckers off. We do get money, but he buckers off. I don't know.
Yeah, but we don't need that money from the transfer from him, because I think we will very likely have to sell Šeško and maybe Lukiba as well, and that should make some like 130 something million, and 130 million is quite a lot of money, and there are not a few number of opponents that we lost against this season. Their whole squad is not worth 130 million.
True.
It should be an ease to put a team together to compete with in the next season, if you have a great scouting department.
But looking at this season, the next challenge we have is versus, a club we know well.
Introducing our next opponent, their Gegnercheck.
Oozing with tradition.
Oh yeah, since 1900.
Yeah, straight from the start.
Yeah, straight from the start. When they were founded, and they too had tradition.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
great. We didn't manage that, but hey, they did. We could learn from that.
Did. Yeah, maybe we should go back and try it again. So found a new club, and then from day 2 we get tradition.
Exactly. This brings me back to the Germany matches, and I admired Tim Kleindienst, who's playing for the club, when he came on and when he played versus Italy in those 2 matches, and he's wonderful. And I remember I texted you in the second match. Tim Kleindienst is suspended for next weekend, isn't he? Pooh, I'm really relieved. Am I right, or am I too optimistic?
It's perfect timing. It could not have been a better situation for us, at least, that he is not available. It's because he is scoring as hell. And it's not only doing this season. He scored 15 goals for Gladbach, and it's quite impressive. And if you look at his stats that he showed up in the last seasons for Heidenheim, he was quite a few seasons with Heidenheim. 1.5 of a season he was at Belgium at Ghent. And since he was 24, so now he's 29, so like 5 seasons, he's scoring double digits in any league. So mostly, of course, it was his second Bundesliga, but now he does it in back-to-back seasons in the Bundesliga. And it's quite impressive. And, there are not a lot of players that are able to do this. And he's one. And, bear in mind what kind of team is that he played for. So he did it with Heidenheim. Yeah. And now with Gladbach, what is not the powerhouses of the league. So it's even harder to put yourself into positions and get in the ball where you need it to finally score. And he does it well. And, this team depends on his abilities as a striker in the first unit. And, that he's not around is a huge weakness for the Mönchengladbach attacking unit. And that's great news for us. Another great news for us is that they are struggling getting a, competitive goalkeeper between the goalposts.
All right.
Because they have Moritz Nicolas. They're usually number one, and he showed great numbers that season. He played 19 games and had a save percentage of 75%, second place in the whole league. And we're often talking about that, hey, RB Leipzig should have been, statistically not as good as we are.
Yeah,
so, X goal
just
differential.
Overperforming.
And this is what Gladbach is doing, overperforming.
Oh, really?
Because,
okay.
Yeah, they do, because in that particular stat where you put the X goals from the X goal score on the X goals conceded, and take this difference, so this X goal differential, Mönchengladbach is even worse. So we are like with -3, so should have conceded more and consequently lost more matches, and Gladbach here is at -7.
Oops.
So
okay.
That brings up the performances that Moritz Nicolas showed for the most time of the season. Then it was out with an injury. Then number 2, Omlin from Switzerland, came in, showed decent performances as well. Then he was injured by himself. Nicolas came back and took away another injury. So that means they have to put a very young, talented guy. In the German newspapers are talking about a Torwartjuwel, so a jewel of a goalie.
Wow.
And actually, he usually plays for the under-19 of Mönchengladbach. And you know what? Although he is Thiago Pereira Cardoso, and guess what nationality he's got?
It sounds like Mexican to me, but Mexican's a very touchy subject nowadays.
Yes, and you're totally wrong, because
no, I'm not.
listen carefully again.
Okay,
Thiago Cardoso.
Okay.
It's obviously it's from Luxembourg. That sounds Luxembourgish to me, doesn't it?
Now that you mention it, it really makes it clear. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it, Richard. I wouldn't have known.
So, all right,
Luxembourg. Okay. So,
that young man,
are we gonna see him when they play Germany for the World Qualifiers? Because in the World Qualifiers, Germany does meet Luxembourg. Does he play for Luxembourg? You don't. Okay.
Maybe I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
So anyway, so usually he is in the under-19 Bundesliga, and he has only 2 Bundesliga matches so far for the first squad of Mönchengladbach, and did not concede a goal.
Oh, Mr. 100%. There you go.
Mr. 100%. But, that one match that he played for the whole 90 minutes was versus Heidenheim without Kleindienst.
We got... well, we conceded 2 goals without Kleindienst.
I almost forgot about that. Now, thank you
dreadful.
that you bring this one
I just want to ruin your Friday night. You're welcome.
You did it perfectly. Thank you.
Is that it now?
Anyway.
You switch off now. So one was versus Heidenheim and the other one?
I don't know. I think he came on in that match versus Bremen. I'm not quite sure. So anyway, thing is, I think nowadays in modern football, you need a special relationship, a special connection between the back 4, back 3, and the goalie. And so obviously it's definitely not an advantage that you have to deal with 2, situations running short of players in the attacking unit and in the goalie unit as well at the same time. And I think that should be in our favor, that match. And besides those 2 guys, they are struggling with another, injury. So you have Rocco Reitz coming back from an injury, played for the under 21 that season, but is reported not to be at 100%. That also counts for Frank Honorat, that Frenchman, usually plays in right midfield. And Sander is not going to play, is out of injury, and the last rumors was about Elvedi, who should not be able to play as well. So pretty much, not, so to speak, it's just concerning, concerning personnel situation they have to deal in Gladbach. And I think that should be a way for us facing a not in Germany we would say eingespielt. So it's not a
like a well-oiled machine or a team which plays together on a regular basis.
Yeah, basically that. So, and there's no cohesion, or less cohesion as at least, and that should open some spaces for us. And I think if we are focusing on our strengths, so on our individual quality and quick game, and then putting the speed on the pitch, that should be a great game for us with lots of opportunities. And I'm quite optimistic here that we are going to take away a 2-0 win.
That is very optimistic. Now, I mentioned our German version and our compact German version already. I'm going with a 2-2 draw. I don't know why. And we actually had some feedback, some comments regarding our last episode of the RBL compact version. And not everyone shares your optimism. Let me put it that way. And they kind of wonder, what is the reason for that? But you explained it perfectly. And hopefully you're right. I hope. And everyone who's traveling out there, we are going to come away with the 3 points. We need them. It's a long road ahead to prove that AI generated table right. I mean, I would love to see that. So, but thanks for the analysis and looking forward to that match. Well, guys, this concludes another session of Bulls and Red. We're definitely going to be back next week. And thank you very much for listening. If you like this pod, please consider subscribing to it on your favorite platform. Follow us on our socials. You can send us an email at podcast@bullsandred.com. Have a wonderful weekend. Richard, vielen herzlichen Dank. Thank you very much. And I'd like to conclude with Auf geht's, Leipziger Jungs!